Watched one of her bridesmaids roll her eyes at me behind her back. One of the girls finally snapped at me to stop making her nervous. I apologized, acted surprised, and offered to help however I could. That's when Kelsey handed me her phone and asked me to keep an eye on her notifications. She said she needed to stay off social media that day so she could stay present. 5 minutes later, while she was getting her curls pinned, I snapped a photo of the chaos in the room, clothes everywhere. One girl eating fruit straight off the tray, makeup brushes scattered across the counter. Then I typed out a caption that read "Stressed Bridezilla Energy" and posted it to her story. I took it down after about 10 seconds, but that was long enough. I saw two of our mutuals screenshot it almost immediately. About an hour later, I heard her asking one of the bridesmaids if her account had glitched. Something about a weird story that disappeared. No one answered clearly. I shrugged and said I hadn't noticed anything. She was too distracted to press further. Before we left for the venue, I bumped into her future sister-in-law in the hallway. We were both getting tea from the same station. I mentioned offhandedly how funny it was that Kelsey used to call her future mother-in-law basically an outdated Etsy board. Then I smiled and said it must have just been pre-wedding nerves. The groom's sister didn't react much. She just raised her eyebrow, then pulled out her phone and started texting. At the venue, Kelsey was already behind schedule. Her dress was ready, but she couldn't find the steamed veil. She turned to me and asked if I had taken care of it. I told her I thought the hotel staff had done it. Cue full-blown panic. The photographer had to pause to give her a minute to breathe while one of the stylists ironed it out as fast as possible. Right before the ceremony, I overheard her fiancé asking why she looked so stressed. She blamed it on bridesmaid chaos. He looked confused, but didn't push. I stood in the background holding the bouquet tray and smiled politely. During family photo time, I discreetly told the photographer that the groom's side should go first, but the photographer didn't question it and called them up. Kelsey walked over mid-shoot and asked why her family wasn't up yet. Too late. The order was already flipped. The photographer just kept snapping. Right before dinner, guests started noticing something weird on the printed programs. Kelsey's full name was there, but the middle name was wrong. Not just wrong, but funny. Her real middle name is Elaine. The program had her listed as Kelsey Blame McAllister, not a typo. I switched it when I submitted the program draft to the printer. She didn't check it before it went to print. She didn't notice until someone brought it up during cocktail hour. The expression on her face when she saw it, blank panic hidden behind a tight smile. At dinner, I made sure to be extra helpful. I thanked the catering staff loudly, complimented the entrees, and joked that Kelsey had originally hated the menu but warmed up to it. The head server was standing close enough to hear. Her face twitched for a second before walking away. Later, the groom's aunt came over to Kelsey's table and asked if she had really wanted something different for the food. Kelsey gave some awkward explanation about changing her mind. I watched her squirm through the whole conversation, nodding along with a glass of wine in my hand. By the end of the night, she looked like she'd been dragged through the mud. Her hair had started falling out of the updo. Her voice was hoarse, and she was snipping at her friends over tiny things, missing charger, misplaced gift, lopsided table signage. She snapped at the maid of honor for not keeping her water filled, then tripped over her own dress while rushing to the bathroom. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. I slipped out just before the send-off, walked through the parking lot barefoot with my heels in hand, and got into my rideshare. In the back seat, I opened Instagram one last time to check her story. The screenshots had already been shared in a private group chat by one of her former friends. The first tear in her perfect image had started to spread, and I hadn't even broken a sweat. 2 days after the wedding, Kelsey texted me asking if I had noticed anything weird happening during the ceremony or reception. I told her nothing major stood out, just typical wedding chaos. She sent a thumbs up and didn't follow up. Later that day, she started calling around. Apparently someone had flagged a couple of her Instagram story clips and pulled them into a Reddit thread. I never said anything.